Hey guys, this is Charles Jaeger with Metal. In this quick tutorial, we're going to take a look at the Mobius Raw effect that's a part of Mantra VR. Alright guys, now that we're inside of After Effects, I'm going to come to the Effects and Presets panel, and I'm just going to type in VR. That's going to toggle all of the Mantra VR effects. And you're going to see the Mantra VR Mobius Raw effect. I'm just going to drag and drop that onto my 360 footage. If we navigate over here to the Effects and Controls panel now, you're going to see a very complex layout of different settings. And I want to do my best to explain kind of what these settings are and really what consists of the Mobius Raw effect. So you'll notice over here we have two other Mobius effects. We have the Mobius Rotate and the Mobius Transform effect. Now really the basis of both of these effects is made up of Mobius Raw. So anything you can create in these two effects, you in theory could create with the Mobius Raw effect. The Mobius Raw effect really is what its name implies. It's just the rawest form of this effect where you can apply very detailed specific values to recreate something with the Mobius Rotate or Mobius Transform effect. This isn't an effect that most users are going to use. Probably 99% of users are never going to even need to mess with this because for most of the stuff they're going to want to stylize, they can use the Mobius Rotate or Mobius Transform effect. But it's nice to have this added control should you ever need it, or if you have a math guru on your team and they want to input a very specific value for a transformation on an equirectangular piece of footage. I'm going to bring up an image here. It's going to also kind of help me explain what we're seeing over here in the control panel. So you're going to see we have A, B, C, and D, and then there's two different sets, A, R, E, and A, I, M. Let me just kind of explain what this consists of. I'm not an expert by all means in this topic, but hopefully you'll get the gist of kind of what I'm explaining. So we have a 4-value matrix, and that's what consists of the Mobius Raw effect. That's why we have A, B, C, and D. And you can see we have these 4 values here, which that's a 4-value matrix. Now each of these values is a complex number. So we can come over here and look at this. And a complex number consists of a real part and an imaginary part. And so that's why we have ARE for real and AIM for imaginary. And that's why each of these have those kind of dual settings there. So I'll go ahead and move this back out of the way. So if you have someone on your team that's a math guru and they want to input very specific values for those imaginary and real values for each of the 4 values in the complex matrix, they can get those results. Now if you're like me, you may just want to come in here and randomly toggle these, and you're going to see it's going to warp and distort your equirectangular footage. And it's very sensitive. You can see here just a very small value change can result in some very dramatic movement on the footage. But another way you can have kind of an introduction to the Mobius Raw effect and what it's doing is just by using the Mobius Rotate and Mobius Transform effect. So I'm going to go ahead and disable the Mobius Raw effect for the time being. And I'm going to drag over here the Mobius Transform effect and the Mobius Rotate effect. And if I stack both of these together, you're going to get a little bit more of a user-friendly format of the Mobius Raw effect. So really anything we can do in these two effects, we could recreate in the Mobius Raw effect. But I just have a little more user-friendly controls here. You can see I can go ahead and adjust the angle, and I get kind of the tiny planet look with the Mobius Rotate effect, and I have these points that I can go ahead and move around. You can see how this is moving around in a very similar method to the Mobius Raw effect. And then I can come over here to the Mobius Transform and adjust the zoom factor for various results. And I could also go ahead and reorient that footage to get other results as well. But I feel this is a good introduction to when you're kind of learning what's happening on the Mobius Raw effect when you're changing values. I'm going to go ahead and delete both the Mobius Transform and the Mobius Rotate effect because I do want to show you can create really cool effects with the Mobius Raw effect even if you really don't know what these values consist of or really what you're inputting. So I'm going to turn the effect back on, and again just go through here and kind of toggle the controls. And what I kind of notice here with my experimentation with the AIM controller here, if I bring this down to the negative, you're going to see it's kind of squishing everything down. Just from my experience with equirectangular footage, I know that when everything gets squished down like this, when it wraps around in a spherical shape, this is going to create a tiny planet look at the bottom of the video. And so what I've done is I've got a Skybox Composer view of this composition, so I'm just going to open that up. So this is kind of a POV view, and I'm just using this temporarily just so you can really see a detailed version of what we're looking at. But I've got my camera here, and I can look around, and you can see we've got this little tiny planet at the bottom. And it's really small here, and it's really smaller than anything we could have created using the Mobius Rotate effect because we're using Mobius Raw and really pushing the values. So if we go back over here to the composition, again, we can see that just right here at the bottom, that's how squished it is. A cool look I could create is if I come over here and I'm going to go ahead and keyframe that value at -27 right here at the beginning of the composition. And I'll just move down here about 4 seconds or so. And I'll set this back to 0. So that should get our footage back to the default, just like it is right there. And so let's go ahead and go back over to our Skybox Composer POV view. And we're going to kind of do a quick RAM preview of this and see what it looks like. So you can see in 360 here, it almost looks like we're going through kind of a space warp and we're just landing on that tiny planet. And that's all a result that we created with just 2 keyframes there in the Mobius Raw effect. Now once we land on the planet down here, you can see you could take your camera controller and you could look around and it looks like normal 360 footage. So again, that's kind of the power of using the Mobius Raw effect. You can really create some looks that you couldn't create otherwise because you're pushing the values so far along using the Mobius Raw effect. We can jump back over here and we can see that same thing here. If we go ahead and scroll through the footage, you can see we have the tiny planet and then it would come through back to normal. And of course you could add in other keyframes for all these other controllers and really create some abstract looks. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoy this quick tutorial with the Mobius Raw effect. Again, it's something that's pretty complex that 99% of us are probably never going to use, but it's nice to have that added control should you need it. Alright guys, it's been Charles Jaeger for Metal. Thanks for watching.